Hello and welcome to Professional Dress. My name is Emmanuel Melgarejo, Career Counseling and Experiential Learning Coordinator for the Career Center. I'm also liaison to the College of Social Science and Interdisciplinary Studies and College of Health and Human Services. Now today I'm going to talk to you about professional dress. Now looking at professional dress, what are we really talking about? We're really talking about your first impression. This is what interviewers are introduced to when you first come into the room. And what they're really looking at is the entire package, which is, not only are the skills and abilities that you bring, but also who you are as a person and the image that you are bringing to the interview. So some of the things to keep in mind as you are looking at this or looking at making a good impression would be to be on time and prepared. By prepared, some of the key things that we recommend is bringing a folder and pen. Bringing in a folder and pen shows that you are ready for the material, ready, to take down any material or any ideas that might coincide with something that you'd want to research later. The other thing is also bringing extra resumes. It's also important to bring a lot of extra resumes. It shows that you are considerate of them really understanding who you are and what skills, abilities, and knowledge that you have. Bringing a portfolio is also another key area to really demonstrate that you're not only there to tell them about your experiences, your abilities and knowledge, but also to show them, give them examples of how you are a good fit for these positions. Another area is to really look at, or that is related to making a good impression, is meeting with a good firm handshake. My recommendation personally would be to actually match the handshake that you are being offered when you first shake one of the interviewers or every single interviewer. Also, do not address interviews by his or her first name, and it's also very important to acknowledge any titles. For example, like being a doctor, you want to refer to them as Dr. So-and-so. It's also really important that you wait for the interviewer to invite you to be seated. And if you are not invited, it's also customary to then wait until everybody else is seated before you sit down. So these are just some of the preliminary recommendations of making a good first impression that is recommended by the Career Center here at Sac State. Now, I want to go right into what not to wear. And this is just so we can really start the conversation of professional dress, because first of all, it's really to identify and give you also an idea of what not to wear, which is definitely the clothes that we mostly find very comfortable, but definitely is not the most professional. So a lot of that has to do with wearing jeans that are faded or have holes, or wearing open shoes or glasses. These are all things that we don't see as being professional, and we want to make sure that we are wearing a more professional attire. But moving on right into what would that look like in terms of being professional or wearing professional attire. This is what we're talking about when it comes to professional attire for men. Starting with the hair, we want to make sure that it's simple and conservative. Definitely recommend, if you're going to get a haircut, get it 3 to 5 days prior to the interview. In terms of the shirt, we want a crisp iron shirt. We suggest that you have a good light color, maybe white, light blue, that really contrasts with the suit. Jewelry should be limited to maybe about 2 items, like a watch and a ring. That would be acceptable. So it should be very limited. Footwear. Now this is an area that, not a lot of students know about this, but you should always match your belt with your shoes. So it's really important that these 2 items are in sync and are kind of the same color or same style. It's also important that you polish your shoes, so you make sure that they're well kept and well maintained. And in terms of socks, it should be half calf and should always match the shoes. So you definitely want to stay away from white socks or any other very light colored type of socks, because you want to make sure that it matches the shoe. Now looking at the tie should be classic design, classic colors. I know that there's a lot of ties out there with a lot of characters, a lot of personality, but we want to make sure that we are presenting a more professional, persona, and make sure that it's a little bit more classic and reserved. So make sure that you choose classic designs and classic colors. In terms of length of the tie, it should touch the top of the belt, and that's something that you want to adjust and make sure. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get it just right when you're tying your own tie. So just make sure that you're definitely getting that good length on your tie. In terms of suit, make sure that it's fitted, single breast. You want to choose colors like navy blue, black, gray, should be solid colors. We definitely do not recommend doing striped because that's a little bit more different casual like, but I think when you're interviewing, you want to stick to solid colors. You also want to make sure that the suit matches the belt. And so you don't want to have, like a brown belt with a black suit. Those could show that it's contrasting. So in terms of hygiene, we want to make sure that you always wear deodorant, you have a fresh breath. So definitely you want to make sure that you take care of those areas. But also one of the areas that some people feel that, or there's a debate between these two areas, is cologne. Definitely the recommendation is either no cologne or very light cologne, because there might be interviewers who have allergies or have sensitive noses, and so we want to be cognitive of that. Also, in terms of tattoos and piercings, we want to make sure that we remove the piercings if possible and cover up the tattoos as much as possible. And lastly, make sure that you maintain your nails neatly trimmed. Now looking at professional attire for women, looking at the hair should be just like the men, simple and conservative. Looking at the suit, it should be also a fitted suit and should stay with neutral colors or solid colors like navy blue, black, or gray. In terms of accessories, this is where it's kind of similar to the men, where you want to match your accessory, like your purse, to your shoes, and you want to make sure that your purse is also a moderate size. Footwear, want to make sure that it's polished, well maintained, closed toe preferred, and the hose should be nude or skin color. So key things for the ladies. In terms of jewelry, for women, there's actually more accessories, more of that. So definitely we'll want to limit that to at least 3 items. So this could be anywhere with a combination of earrings, watch, and ring, or we maybe want to do bracelet, earring, watch. There's whatever combination you wanna do. But in terms of bracelets, necklace, and earrings, we want to make sure that they don't jingle. And it's really important that that they are, don't take away or not distracting in the interview. In terms of the dress shirt, this should also be crisp and ironed, buttoned up in a solid color. In terms of hygiene, always wear deodorant, maintain fresh breath. And in terms of perfume, you want to do the same thing, either a light perfume or no perfume at all. Same thing, cover tattoos, nails should be neatly trimmed or filled. Nail polish should be clear or a natural tone, which is something that, sometimes we forget, and it's always good to remind ourselves that we want to present a professional persona. Now, this part of the presentation is just to give you an idea of kind of like the different combinations that are available in terms of, professional dress, what it looks like for different people from different backgrounds. So you can kind of get an idea. So this is really to just give you an idea of what it looks like. And there's a lot of different combinations. As you can see, there's different ties, different suits, different colors, different accessories that people are wearing. So take note of that. And also look at, different hairstyles that are also professional and acceptable for interviews. Now, on this part, it's more to illustrate something that you might run into in a professional setting, where they may ask you to come in business casual versus coming in business professional. And this is really to illustrate the differences between the two. So on both of these images, towards the left is the business professional, and on the right is the business casual. As you can see for the ladies there, in terms of the big difference is the shirt. You know, you can wear a blouse, which more says business casual, where, you know, on the business professional, you're actually wearing a suit and a button-up shirt. For the gentleman, it's actually, the big difference is really the suit. You know, on business professional would wear a suit, where in business casual, you kind of wear a button-up shirt and a tie and some slacks, where, you know, it's not a set. You can do actually some combinations with business casual. There's more color in business casual for both the ladies and the gentlemen. And so that's how, those are the big differences between business professional and business casual. Now, I wanted to show you this piece because this is actually a resource that is available for students or alumni, whoever is watching this video. This is a piece that you can actually go get at the Career Center here at Sacramento State. And it really outlines, you know, what's acceptable for the different clothes items that a person can use for an interview. And it breaks it down for women and for men. And it definitely, I encourage you to stop by the Career Center and pick up this handout. It breaks everything down: suit, shirt, tie, belt, jewelry, socks, shoes, briefcase, grooming, everything that I'm discussing in this presentation. This handout really talks about it, and it's something that you can take away. And lastly, I want to leave you with our office, you know, where we're located. We're in Lassen Hall 1013, and also our contact information in case you want to get more information. Also wanted to leave you with our fall and spring hours, which is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and appointments are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So definitely encourage you to stop by, visit us, and we're more than happy to work with you. Thank you.